Richard, it's that time of year again. It's 2018, and it's time for the Podcast Awards.
Yay! It's our, or as we like to call it, the season of disappointment.
Well, it's our third year running, Richard, and if you get the opportunity, please go to podcastawards.com and vote for your favorite podcast, The Language of Bromance, for the Comedy Podcast Award and the People's Choice Award.
There's one thing we pride ourselves on. It's being the people's choice. And you know what? Sometimes the people's choice isn't the most popular choice, but it's the choice that we have to live with. And I'm not naming names, but we could be that choice.
And also, if you're on there and you're looking around, please throw a nomination for my other podcast, Strange Indeed, as part of the TV and film category. So please remember just to go out to podcastawards.com and vote for Language of Bromance for comedy and People's Choice, and Strange Indeed for TV and film.
Definitely. Do both of those. As hard as it is for me to say, I guess you could do the other. But do one. Definitely do ours. Definitely nominate us, because we are the podcast. We're not the podcast that you need. We're the podcast that you deserve.
So remember, podcastawards.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. And I love it's one of my favorite times of year. It's Comic-Con time, Shawn.
It is, Richard. So if you don't know, if you're brand new to our show, Richard and I love this time of year. This is the year where you get new trailers, you get new news, you get new TV trailers, you get like tons of stuff. And so since we started the show the week after Comic-Con, we said, guess what? We're never going to get to be, on the spotlight at Hall H, so we're starting our own. We're starting Hall LOB, and that's where we're at today, and we are talking about all the great stuff from Comic-Con 2018.
And when the day comes that we are in Hall H, we're going to rename it Hall LOB.
Yes, we'll walk in and be like, guess what? This is not Hall H anymore. And the Comic-Con people will be like, yeah, it is. Get off the fucking stage. Or actually what happens, we'll get on stage and somebody's going to be like, security!
Yeah.
Get those guys!
Welcome to Hall LOB. Running across. Welcome to Hall LOB. And then I get tackled.
Yeah. Don't tase me, bro!
That's my Comic-Con story.
Yeah, but and you've never been, right?
I have been.
Okay. Like actually in or just around it?
Around it.
Oh.
Why'd you have to do that?
Sorry. It's like when you're in high school, it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally not a virgin. I've been with a girl. Well, I mean, have you been in it or just around it?
Just around it.
I'm around it right now. Does that count?
Tickets are fucking expensive. But I was there. I didn't get to go in and on the floor, but honestly, there is shit going on for like, the 5-6 blocks around the convention center. So I was not remiss without things to do. There was plenty to do and see.
And I think at this point too, like going in, like you're shoulder to shoulder with people, like they jam pack you in there. If you don't wait for like days ahead of time for the halls, like you're not getting in. No, and if you do get in a hall, you're squatting the whole day.
Also true.
Do they have a digital or like a virtual ticket yet for that? I feel like they should. I know they show a lot of stuff already, but
I don't think they do. And I think that's intentional because because they show a lot of exclusive footage, a lot of exclusive stuff, and true. Some stuff they don't necessarily put out until 2 months later, 3 months later.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And if they had a full virtual ticket type thing, it'd be hard to be like, oh, nope, don't show that. Yep, show that. There'd be a lot of messed up.
Yeah, if they put on a virtual ticket, then it would be either they would have to black it out in parts, in which case people would be like, why the fuck am I paying for this virtual ticket?
Yeah.
Or the people that are putting out content would say, well, if I'm putting this out here for the Comic-Con audience, I'm going to upload it to YouTube too, because
Yeah, and then
Why
you'd be
not?
like, why the fuck am I paying $150 for a virtual ticket?
Again, if they're uploading the same content to YouTube, then the people are going, well, why the fuck am I paying for a virtual ticket when I could just... So all you get to do is you get to watch grainy cam footage that people upload on YouTube.
Which we talked about this right before we kicked the show in, and this Hall LOB episode, you know, in years past we had tons of like, oh my god, did you see? Oh my god, did you see? This year seemed to be lacking a little bit. A
little. I mean, I will say I would say there's about 2 or 3 things that perked me up.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Had me interested. I'm sure when we talk, we'll find out it's the same 2 or 3 things.
Probably.
But there was, I mean, but not just, I would say more than that. There was just it seemed like there was a lack of content. Marvel didn't really, Marvel didn't show a bunch.
Which they have their thing next week or two, the Disney Marvel thing.
Yeah, the D23 or whatever.
Yeah, we'll probably see a bunch then. But I guess the way, I don't know if you have a specific order you want to do this, but I figured what we could do is we could tackle movies, TV, and the news, if that works for you.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm all down with it. Lead it off.
Let's start with movies. So the thing that perked my ears, you know, like everybody's probably thinking like, oh, Aquaman. Like I knew an Aquaman trailer was going to drop, and it did. But that's not what perked my ears from DC this year. So of the two of us, you are the more comic book aficionado. I'm kind of like just starting to grasp things. And I knew they were making this movie. I'd heard about it, but I was like, I don't really know much about it. This is like about a kid, I think, or I think it's just about like this weird like Superman type of hero. But Richard, they dropped the Shazam movie trailer.
Yes, and I'm like Shazam, and then the trailer showed up.
And I'm like, they are putting the comedy back in DC. Like they're taking that dark, like Zack Snyder-esque stuff, and they are bringing in like some awesome comedy. Richard, they dropped that Shazam trailer. I've watched it twice, and there's multiple spots that I've giggled pretty loudly because it just seems like an extremely fun hour and a half, hour and 40-minute ride.
I didn't know this was going to happen. We're going to start off with a fight because I watched that and I was like, eh.
Really? Why is that? Why was it eh?
If I really thought about it, I would chalk it up to casting because I'm fine with the 12-year-old kid. I don't know the guy that they have actually playing Shazam.
He's got a familiar face, but yeah, I haven't looked to see who it is or where to place him. But
I just,
But you know what it feels like to me? It feels like a comic book version of Big.
Okay.
So, you know, the Tom Hanks movie from like the late 80s, you know, like a kid, you know, makes a wish and he becomes, you know, an adult. He gets to do adult things like a kid. And that really is what this seems like. It's a kid who becomes a superhero and can do superhero things. Like in this day and age, like if you had superpowers, like, oh, that dude's phone's about dead. Zap, your phone's, you know, at 100%. Zap, your phone's at 100%. And then it blows up and the dude's like, what the fuck? Actually, I think he said, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean... okay. I guess it might be just because I wasn't sure what I was wanting from a Shazam movie. Because I understand the premise. The premise was always, hey, there's this, you know, teenage kid, this kid who says Shazam, he gets struck by lightning, and then he turns into like this uber powerful, like on par with Superman.
Yeah. So did you read many comics, or have you watched many like TV shows?
I didn't read a lot of Shazam. Like I said, all I know is the premise of it. Also, he says he can say Shazam and bring down lightning. And also sometimes if he says Shazam, then the lightning hits him and then he turns back into a 12-year-old boy, which, you know, might not be the best thing to happen in the middle of a fight with Darkseid, for example.
Yeah, that's a tough trump card to play. You're like, all right, and Shazam. Damn it, I'm 12 again. That sucks. Thunk. Well, guess I'm dead.
I don't know what the recharge is on the yelling out Shazam.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I mean, it seemed like a, kind of a, a kid that's down on his luck. He's in a foster home. He's been on his own. Like when he first meets the dude, like he has to say Shazam and he giggles because it is a silly name, a silly word.
It is.
But I don't know. It seems like this will be kind of like a Thor Ragnarok type of ride. Like it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of funny jokes. It's going to almost make fun of the superhero genre just a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't know. I think it's like I said. I think it's just because I don't know what I'm expecting from a Shazam movie. But I watched the trailer for it, and I don't know. For me, I think I just chalk it up to the casting. I'm not totally sold on the dude they have playing Shazam.
Gotcha. See, now, and I could be completely wrong.
It looks like he has kind of like this big fakeish kind of suit. Kind of like how they did it back in the 90s where they would like build muscles inside the suit.
Yeah, but is that Shazam? Is that kind of the makeup of a Shazam? Like the actual character?
I would say Shazam looked a lot like Superman.
Okay.
Like almost, I would say probably he looked almost exactly like Superman. Now, a little short white cape, the red suit, the little lightning bolt. Like he looked like the outfit looked the same. I was
Now I could be wrong about this, Richard, but when I watched this, I got the same tingling feelings of like, what is this that I got with Guardians? The very first time I saw the Guardians trailer, I'm like, all right, Marvel's doing this weird space comedy thing, and I watched it. And I'm like, I'm already watching this expecting to hate it, and I come out of like, holy shit! Like this looks like it might be a fun ride. Like it looks like an hour 45, 2 hours of pure enjoyment. Now DC doesn't have any kind of background to make me feel like that's going to happen, but with this specific trailer, it looked like it would work. And I think if they kind of poke fun at some of the darkness of the DC universe and make fun of themselves a little bit, but have a good time, it might be pretty good. Now, I think where this movie is going to fail is if it tries to tie itself way too much into the DC universe, because we see the bat symbol, or the batarang, we see a couple other things. So we see that this is in the same universe, but if they try too hard, I think they're going to end up hurting this movie to kind of build that universe.
So you're saying that this will be good as long as they don't tie it into anything else they've made up to this point.
All right. So I thought this was one we're going to agree on. So what like movie trailer did you see that you were like super psyched for?
Okay. there were two, but if you want to interject one in between the two I have, go for it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Here's the first one. The one that really kind of like I was like, "Oh, now I'm kind of into this." Shawn, I think it showed up on Friday. The trailer for M. Night Shyamalan's new movie Glass.
Yes, that's one I saw too. You've seen Split and everything, right?
I have. I've watched Split. I watched Unbreakable. I haven't watched Unbreakable for years, but I watched it years ago.
I haven't seen Unbreakable. I've seen Split. And so like I knew that they were tied together before I went and saw it. So I kind of the only thing in Split you really need to know is that Bruce Willis was in a previous movie, because that kind of ties it together a little bit.
Yeah, well, they Easter egg Bruce Willis at the end of Split. Yeah. Spoilers.
You don't need to see, I think, Unbreakable to get Split. I'm going to go back and watch Unbreakable because I think you need to see both those movies before you see Glass.
I would say you definitely need to see Unbreakable before you watch Glass, because Samuel L. Jackson is in Unbreakable.
And that movie drops in January of 2019. That's like 6 months away.
Yeah.
So I love Split. Like when I saw M. Night Shyamalan was doing Split, and this is before I knew it tied into his other movies, I was like, oh my God, that's genius. Why hasn't somebody thought of a multi-personality serial killer before? Like that just seems like a great storyline to go off of. And then you find out it's a little bit more than that. But with M. Night Shyamalan, you're kind of like, well, is it? Like, he thinks he's this beast character. It's like, well, is he? Like, is he actually this beast character?
And like, I was kind of on the fence about watching the movie because I'm like, oh fuck, it's M. Night Shyamalan. Like,
What a twist!
I'm gonna get some sort of bullshit at the end, or like that one fucking movie he did, The Village, where I'm gonna figure out what's going on like 30 minutes in, and it's gonna ruin the whole fucking movie for me.
There, like Sixth Sense, somebody ruined that movie for me. Like what the ending was. It's like, oh yeah, Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time. Ruins the whole movie for you.
Yeah.
The other one somebody did. Signs. Somebody's like, oh, it's actually like it's about God, and I watched it the whole time expecting some like big God thing, and it didn't happen. So I'm like, no, it was aliens.
Yeah.
Although I've heard like theories about it, like how it could be demons and stuff, but I've never rewatched it because I was like, this is stupid. What a twist, my ass.
But yeah, like The Village. I was in the theater. I went to the theater to watch that goddamn movie. 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh, that's okay. This is probably what's going on. And then, sure enough, the whole fucking time, and I was like, God damn it. And it just, I ruined it for myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was really super on the fence about watching Split. And then I heard some people were like, oh my God, this movie's like pretty good. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I watched the movie, and it's like you said, you're watching the movie and you're trying to figure out, well, like you get that he's a serial killer, and you get that he has these different personalities. He has, what do they call it? Dissociative personality disorder. I don't remember. And you're like, okay. And then you get into this beast personality, and then you're sitting there going, well, when he does that, like, is that really him? Like, is he the one that's doing this shit?
Yeah. Like, is it really happening, or is it like in his head? That's the thing I kept thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I think I figured he was going to be in like some insane asylum at the end. That was going to be the big twist. So I get done watching the movie, and I'm like, okay. Still, I was still kind of like, was it? And then I see this Easter egg at the very end with fucking Bruce Willis, and that's when I go, oh my God, he really was. Like, he's got fucking powers, just like Bruce Willis had powers. Holy shit. And then that's when I was like, oh, this is fucking good now. Like, this just went from like being like a 4 or 5 to like an 8. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love when movies do that. Like, because you worry that they're trying to like outsmart the room or something like that. But in the end of the movie, they like make it like something like, oh my God, like, okay, now I'm invested. I want to rewatch this. So then they're like, hey, we're making this new movie, and guess what? It's going to be called Glass, and they're all fucking in. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking great. Yeah. Because these people have powers, or you think they have powers. Samuel L. Jackson, you're not entirely sure. You don't really know. Well, he's got to have. He has like superhuman intelligent power. He's super fucking smart. But what's awesome though is like if this worked, like if he does it right, he's basically built his own comic, villain and heroes universe. Yes, and because not just that, but he has a. Like, I mean, even though we're talking about, like people with superhuman abilities, he managed to take it and ground it in a more realistic. He's done the superhero thing in a more realistic way than anybody else so far. More than Marvel, more than DC. Yeah, it's essentially like the idea, like you've tricked your brain into using power or using the ability of your body and brains to more capacity than we've allowed ourselves to, and you become a superhero that way. I mean, could you imagine if this works? Like M. Night Shyamalan is like building his like this is like we'll have Marvel, we'll have DC, and then we'll have Shyamalan. Yeah, it makes and then you go, well, what the fuck else could you do? Because right now you've only seen 3. Yeah, and that's the only thing that makes me nervous with Glass is like, if it comes out and it builds on something like that or it works, it'll be awesome. But like, what happens if it ends up and it's like basically all 3 of these people are just another personality of the guy from Split? And he's actually just been in like an insane asylum his whole life. Like, I think that would be clever, but it kind of like, all right, well,
I don't know, because like I said, like when you're talking about like Unbreakable and like watch Unbreakable.
That might help me kind of identify that.
Watch Unbreakable. I think that'll shatter that for you. I mean, I think I can tell you that without spoiling that movie for you.
And I've got the gist of it. I mean, I kind of looked it up a little bit after, but just time wise, I haven't sat down to rewatch it. But now that this is coming out soon, I definitely will.
Yeah. So, but then the other question I have is, if Unbreakable and Split and this new movie Glass are connected, does that mean that other movies he has are connected too? Like, what about Lady in the Water? He did Lady in the Water. Yeah,
I never saw Lady in the Water.
Is that going to? Because that had fucking werewolves in it.
Maybe
so they're going to be werewolves. Is Bruce Willis going to fucking fight a werewolf with his bare goddamn hands?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, you'd have to look to see who all distributed and who owns the rights. If he owns the rights to all of them, maybe. If not, it's probably just going to be this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But no, I saw that trailer too, and I was pretty pumped for it. I was really pumped by the fact, again, it's coming out in January of next year, so it's like really, really soon.
Yes, very much so. So I would say if out of everything I saw so far in movies, like that one definitely got my fur up.
Okay.
That's when I'm like, yeah, okay, there we go. Because I was getting really kind of like, where the fuck's the good shit?
Yeah.
Give me some good shit.
Let's see. So then the other movie I saw that kind of got me not really pumped, but I was kind of like, oh, okay. It's J.J. Abrams. We had heard rumors that the Cloverfield, basically the Cloverfield universe was going to have another movie. And I heard rumors that it was going to be like World War II based. There's going to be like Nazis and zombies and yada, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And they released the trailer for it. There's no real mention or connection to Cloverfield, so it may just be its own thing. But it's the movie Overlords by J.J. Abrams. I think he's just producing it. And Richard, when I saw this, I'm not going to lie, and I wrote it down right here. I feel like this is the Zombie Bears prequel.
You texted me that when you saw it. Actually, well, I think you told me to watch it, and you were like, "This is the prequel to Zombie Bears." And you know what? I watched it, and you're absolutely right. You're so right.
Because it starts off like,
"Hey, it's a war movie. Look at they're jumping out of planes. La 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 la. We're walking through France and killing Nazis. Going Johnny
We
USA.
have to give them purpose." Like, you fucker stole that line.
And then here comes Nazi zombies.
Yep. And they have Nazi. No, wait, that's a different movie. But if they have like Nazi zombie bears in there, I'm fucking writing JJ. And he's going to ignore it.
He's going to be like, fuck you, I made Star Wars.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I did steal it. What are you going to fucking do about it?
Oh, and Star Trek.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I've got a podcast. Yeah, that's where I stole the idea. I didn't get that on audio. Damn it, JJ.
Maybe you should record things more for your podcast.
But it was, it looked like a cool idea. It looked, again, I don't know if this ties into Cloverfield at all. It didn't seem like it would, because it didn't seem like it had any kind of the flavor of Cloverfield. What were your thoughts on this one?
It seemed like kind of a grittier war movie, which I'm like, okay, like a kind of a grittier World War II movie. I would be interested to see, like how, like if they, say, if they go the route by saying that Nazis had advanced technology.
Yeah.
And they were, because recently, well, I say recently, in the last few years, Bethesda Studios did a remake of Wolfenstein.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good. The Wolfenstein game is really fucking good. If anybody hasn't played it, go buy that game. It's super fucking good.
Does it have a lot of like the occult stuff in it, like the Nazi occult stuff, or is it just
with the older ones? I think did the last couple, not really so much. It was more like, weird science and, advanced technology, and they're shooting fucking particle weapons and we're shooting Tommy guns, and
I gotcha.
It's really fucking good though. But I was wondering if they were going to go that route with the movie, because to me, like after playing that game and watching this trailer, like to me, I'm thinking like, oh, this could be like Wolfenstein. You have big fucking giant evil metal robot dogs, and zombies riding robot dogs.
I get down with that. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a wild ride. I mean, this is definitely one that with Movie Pass, I'm going to go see. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know if it's going to be kind of like those one and dones, or again, it's kind of like with Glass. Will it be a situation where they try to tie it into a universe of, am I making this up, or they talked about a World War II movie being tied to Cloverfield, right?
That I do not know.
Okay,
when you were saying that, I was like, what? Because I just don't know. Maybe he just says that everything's tied to Cloverfield just to like get people interested in it.
Maybe he's like, those Netflix numbers are hurting somebody.
Hey, we're putting the Cloverfield monster in episode 9, and then people are like, what? And then their mind explodes.
But yeah, that was the other one that kind of piqued my interest a little bit, was the Overlords. So you had a number. I had
movie. One more. I had one more that I was like, "Ooh, okay, give me that. Give me some of that." Shawn, we had a preview for a new Godzilla movie.
Yes, that was the other one on my list.
That one. Okay, so the last Godzilla movie, I was super down for it. It drug. It did have its moments where it drug. Also, I mean, spoilers. I don't know. Fuck, the movie came out 3-4 years ago.
It's been a bit.
Killed off Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, like super early in that movie too.
Super early. Like he dies in the first like 45 minutes.
It's like the first 20. It's like, oh yeah, that's the dude from Breaking. Oh, well, he's gonna come back, right? It's only been 15 minutes. Nope.
Yeah. That was my thing. I'm like, well, they killed him super early, so he can't really be dead. Nope, he's gone.
Yep, he ain't coming back. Nope. He got a paycheck and he ain't coming back.
Nope.
Yeah, I saw it's got the chick from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. She's kind of playing the lead. Looks like it's a very like post-apocalyptic almost world, where these monsters have all kind of come from the depths.
Okay, so that's where like my brain kind of exploded a little bit, because it starts off with this like weird, this chick talking about how apparently, humanity is a cancer on the planet, which, I can't argue, but saying that, humanity is a cancer on the planet, but there's these creatures that have, lived for thousands of years or whatever. And then, okay, so then I start seeing images of all these fucking monsters from my childhood. I see Mothra. I see Rodan. I see King Ghidorah, the three-headed fucking dragon.
Yeah. So what are the other two? So I saw a bunch of cool monsters, but I don't know their names. So you mentioned 2 before. Which ones were those?
Mothra was the moth, because his name's Mothra. Okay. The other one, Rodan. Rodan was the
that was
thing.
The one that was the Dan from Roseanne, right?
Yes, you nailed it.
That was weird, like seeing a big Dan walking around. I don't know how they got John Goodman for this. I thought he was busy. You ruined us, Roseanne, from your racist tweets.
It's okay. Now I get my own show. Ha 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 ha. Maybe. I don't know.
Probably. Should.
It's the only reason I watch the show.
Side note, did you see her like weird like minute and a half like
what the
YouTube
fuck?
video? That was posted on her actual YouTube page.
Yeah. Like people are like, oh well, you took that out of context. Nope.
No, it's like she's
the one that put that up there. So she has. So if any sort of backlash she gets from posting her stupid I'm gonna yell bullshit, like any sort of backlash she gets from that, brought that on yourself 100%.
You think this is like an Andy Kaufman thing, or do you think she's just batshit crazy?
I think she's just batshit crazy. She said batshit. You know what? I'll save it for the news.
Okay,
we'll get there. Save it for the news. Okay, so Rodan was the bird-like creature that burst from out of the volcano.
Oh, yeah.
And then was flying around and like knocking houses over and shit. It's basically like think of it like a big giant condor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But these are all supposed to be like mythical Titan type creatures. Like that's what it seemed that's what they're alluding to. Like these were the things that people worshipped as gods before. Yeah. And then they went to sleep. These are all the fucking like monsters of my childhood. Big old fucking rubber monster Godzilla fighting rubber monster Mothra. But now you're seeing it like actually. I
want to see if there's going to be like, okay, so Mothra was always controlled by these three girls that were like, I swear to God, they were this big. And they would sing, and whatever they like when they would sing stuff, then Mothra would do shit.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So you got Mothra, Rodan. The other one was the three-headed dragon, King Ghidorah, and he was like the bad guy. He was always like the villain.
He was the big boss.
He was the big boss. That was like if Godzilla had an arch nemesis, it was King Ghidorah.
Was that the one you cut off a head and more sprout, or is that different?
No, that's a Hydra. This is just a three-headed dragon. You always want to ruin it by adding something more.
I don't know. It'd be cool. Like he bites one head off and like two more appear. Now it's a four-headed dragon.
Enough with the head slicing. Okay, so Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, and they're like, hey, we got this, the planet's going to shit, and these monsters are all going to come out of the woodwork and start fighting each other, and you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, Battle of the Titans, Godzilla, the savior of man. Is Godzilla like the Zeus in this, then? I think Zeus hated man, though, didn't he?
I don't know. See, like Godzilla, it always started out like the first movie. Godzilla was like this plague on humanity. Like it showed up, it destroyed Tokyo, it wandered off, and then as the years went on, Godzilla kind of became this like he was like the good monster that fought for truth, justice, in the Japanese way. He's like, nobody destroys Tokyo but me. I guess, yeah. I mean, because they still would fuck up Tokyo or fuck up wherever they went and knock down buildings and all this other bullshit. But it didn't matter because Godzilla was fighting another monster, and the other monster was worse. I guess.
I'm down. Like I said, I saw it, and I think you give me any kind of cool post-apocalyptic idea, and I'm down. Yeah. And I saw the first one, and I only saw it in the theater. I haven't seen it like more than once, but I was like, all right, yeah, it was a good movie. I didn't leave feeling like I got screwed out of $10.
I did like the first movie because I felt like that was the Godzilla kind of that I remember because I wasn't sure what to expect. Like, it was just
the old one with Matthew Broderick, like way Godzilla should have been.
I want to choke you.
I remember that. Yeah.
With my bare fucking hands, I want to choke the life out of you.
Yeah, and then you find out that Godzilla laid eggs.
I hate you
in Madison Square Garden.
Oh my god!
And they're like dinosaurs.
Stop it. So in the first the last Godzilla movie they had, I didn't know what to expect. So it started with this thing swimming through the water. And you kind of get like a general origin story. And then meanwhile, these other two monsters like are fucking up shit all over the West Coast. Then Godzilla shows up and they beat the shit out of it. But then all of a sudden you see this blue light and I was like, oh my God. Godzilla breathes fucking fire. Radioactive blue fire. Breathes it right down one's fucking neck, like fucking breaks its jaw open and is like, breathes fire down his fucking neck. I'm like, yes! More of this, less of everything else.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
So anyway, that was the other one that had me going, ooh, because you had not just a new Godzilla movie, which I was like, oh, okay. But now you have Godzilla fighting
more than one monster.
He
just fought one, I think, in the first one.
Well, I don't know if it's Godzilla fighting more than one monster or if it's just all the monsters fighting each other.
Ooh, a monster battle royale.
Yeah, cool. Because they kind of did that. There was one movie where they sent all the monsters to this planet to like basically have a battle royale. They sent they put all the monsters on ships or whatever and sent them to Planet X. And then at Planet X, they had this like battle royale to see who would be the king of all monsters.
That's funny. It's like, no, you're boarding, you're A, but we're seating first class right now.
Shawn, it's fucking 30 years of movies. Like,
yeah, you got to come up with something.
They got to come up with something. Like, rocket ships to Planet X, battle royale.
They show how they get there, or do they just like, oh, no, we sent them
Fuck, I don't remember. That movie came out in like the 60s.
All right, Richard, well, I'm glad you didn't mention this one because I saw the trailer for it, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not very excited for it. It's our other DC movie that was released, and not going to bury the lead, Aquaman.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I kind of felt about this one. I kind of felt like the same way I did with Shazam, where I was like, okay.
Shazam, like I said, Shazam I was excited for. Aquaman, I was like, this feels like more of the same. Like, I don't know if I care about this Aquaman character. Don't know what he's fighting for. It's a lot of big, crazy stuff. I'll go see it, but the trailer didn't do much for me. And even the way, so did you see how they announced that the trailer was going to be released on Friday?
No, I didn't.
So Jason Momoa is like in Hawaii and he's on like a camera, like a live Facebook chat thing.
Like a GoPro thing or?
No, it's more like a Facebook Live, like it's on his phone.
Okay.
And he's kind of like, I'm back home, yada yada. I got a big surprise for you, but it's all the way down there. And he's like on a cliff because it's Jason Momoa, right? And they do this weird cut where it seems kind of
wearing a shirt either, was he?
No, of course not. I mean, if you were Jason Momoa, would you wear a shirt? I would never wear a shirt. Like, Jason Momoa is the kind of guy, you walk into a place that says no shoes, no shirt, no service. He walks in, like, yeah, go ahead, you're good.
Yeah, right? And then the whole room just gets moist.
Yeah. And they're actually probably more like, hey, you're wearing shoes and shirts. Can you take those off, please? Like, dude, you're a dude. It's like, yeah, I know. Take it off. That dude's a specimen.
Motherfucker.
And it's not like, okay, Jason Momoa rant. Like, it's not like fake, like bodybuilder. Like, you are on some fucked up stuff to be that gargantuan.
Right?
He just looks like he's cut, like you said, from God's own marble.
Yeah. Yeah. And like he just like rolled out of the fucking womb that way.
Yeah.
He just like did a somersault and then just stood up. Gonna be out of there. Fuck.
Let's go hug some puppies and make some husbands' wives wet in the nether regions.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
That's what push-ups get you, Richard.
That's all it takes?
I think he does more than that, but anyway, so
he drinks and throws axes and shit.
Don't start talking about all that. He does like Did you know he fucking can play guitar?
Yeah.
Like, not even like kind of like, like guitar guy at a party, like legit guitar.
Yeah.
He rides motorcycles.
God damn it.
He is, people are like, there's too much of a man culture now. Like, yeah, because Jason Momoa is like what we all strive to be.
Because we live in a world where that exists and that's what I have to fucking compete with.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I love him so much, though.
He married Denise Huxtable.
That's the only thing we have going for us is he's like legitly like in love with his wife. Like he's not a dude that's going house to house and be like, hey, I'm Jason Momoa, I'm going to bang your wife. Because you can't say anything.
Thank God. Thank God for that woman. It's the only thing that's separating him from just complete female anarchy.
Yep. He comes to your door and said that. You'd be like, all right, well, you want me to go get anything to eat afterwards? Or he's like, yeah, come back in like 12 to 18 hours. What? 12 to 18 hours? Yeah, we're going to cuddle for 6. Oh, okay. Wait a second.
I deserve this.
I'll be down the street.
It's like the boogeyman. It's like the sex boogeyman.
Yeah.
Bring your wife to orgasm or Jason Momoa's going to come to your house.
But he's on the edge of this cliff and he's doing this thing. And it looks like a really bad cut scene. And I think it's like he's fake jumping into the water. But he ends up like cliff diving into the water, and he goes down. There's turtles and stuff, and he shows his phone, which again, it looks very. That's the thing that sucks with DC is like even this looks like very, very fake and like pre-produced. And they basically showed like Aquaman trailer on Friday. I was like, oh, cool. Like I guess this isn't really setting me up for much excitement. And then you see it, and you're kind of like, all right, please don't suck. I don't think DC can handle many more suckages.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't really much to say. It's just like you watch it and you're like, okay, dude talks to fish.
Yep, and comes out in a couple months, so I guess I'll check it out.
He's got water powers. I mean, he makes quippy jokes, and like that's kind of cool.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'll go see it when it comes out in November, I think, or maybe December.
Are you okay? So are you just jaded when it comes to DC that like now everything you view is suspect? Because I feel like that to a degree. Like I don't give them a complete fair shake because of like everything that's come before it.
I think DC, like Marvel's had a few stinkers. Like like the first Ant-Man, I was like, okay, it was all right.
The first Ant-Man, I was like, okay. The Hulk, I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can give that one a little bit. Like that was like the second movie they've done. But Ant-Man and Wasp came out, and that was a fun ride. Like it was good. But with DC, it's like fool me once, okay, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And you're gonna go and see this one, like you're gonna have low expectations. So if you come out with like, oh yeah, it was okay, like it's a win. But if you go,
I mean, like I will say, like I am totally not in the Marvel camp because like some of the stuff they came out with, like Iron Fist.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of the TV stuff because I've heard a lot of bad things about Iron Fist. Daredevil, the first season was good.
First two seasons of Daredevil were really good. First season of Jessica Jones I thought was really good.
Yeah, we're like halfway through that one. The wife really likes it.
Iron Fist, meh. Luke Cage wasn't bad. Season 2 of Luke Cage, I was gonna.
Yeah, but I think it's the thing. Like, if you go and see Aquaman, if it is a big stinker, like you walk out like that was dumb. Like I don't want to see it. Like that's gonna hurt everything else. Like that's basically where it's like that isn't okay. Like if it isn't like you walk out and you're like that was okay. Like I'd watch it again.
Yeah. Okay. So another question: do you feel? Now, I've kind of wondered this, and I kind of think it might be true. Do you feel that in the Justice League movie, I felt like Aquaman kind of got a lot of the best play?
Yeah.
Do you think that was intentional to try and like kind of shore up the movie that he's because he's the next one to come out with a movie? Am I? I don't know. Because Justice League came out last November. Has there been anything in between?
I don't think so. But I know they've kind of shifted gears on a lot of stuff. I honestly don't know what DC's game plan is. So, I mean, I feel like
that's the problem.
Yeah, if Aquaman, because like now they're even talking about doing a lot of one-offs. Like they talked about like a Joker origin movie. I think they've got one with Leto. Like the origin movie is going to have Joaquin Phoenix in it. So, it seems like they're kind of retconning a lot of stuff to be like, no, we're just going to do individual movies. But you have this Aquaman movie, you have Wonder Woman coming out that are still tied into this DCU.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if this movie bombs, like this one I could see going one of two ways. Either it opens slow and it sucks and it just peters out and you're going to have to see them retcon DC altogether. Or first week's going to be low, but it's going to be really, really good. And people will be like, no, go see this. Like, it is worth seeing twice. And you're going to see a little bit of a tick up in the next week and two after because people are starting to word of mouth it and be like, it's good.
But is that going to be too late for it? Like, is this the movie that has to open to this massive, that has to start big and stay big?
I don't think it has to start big. Like, the first week, if it's kind of like, but it has to tick up. Like, this has to be a movie that when people leave, they're like, this was my Guardians. Like, this is a movie I love. I'm going and seeing it twice, maybe 3 times.
Okay.
Like, it has to be that kind of movie, I think, to save that DCU.
Okay.
Because if you come out of it and you're like, yeah, I don't even really wish I would have seen it, it's donezo. They've got to restart the whole thing. I don't see how they could fix it. Like, even if Wonder Woman 84 comes out next year and is that like, oh my gosh, it's just as great as the first one. Oh, guess what, guys? Justice League this fall. Nah, don't want to see it. Give me another Wonder Woman. You've lost the audience.
I feel like that's kind of where it's at now.
Yeah. I think they've already got this stuff, so this is kind of stretching it out. So it may just be kind of the stretching out of the death of DCU.
Yeah, but the death throes.
Yeah, but I mean, if they hit on this and they hit on Wonder Woman 84, maybe it can save it. But I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
Let's see. What other movies did you have from this year?
I think that was all I had for movies.
Okay, I've got two quick hitters.
Okay.
They showed a new Halloween poster, and I guess they showed some footage. I haven't seen it or heard much about it. But that's a movie I'm pretty pumped for. That comes out in October. It's I love that what they did with the new Halloween.
Wait a minute. Halloween comes out in October?
Yeah. I think it's like the week before Halloween. Marketing, right?
Oh my God.
But what I like about it is this is like a direct sequel to Halloween, and it has nothing to do with Halloween 2 or any of the other ones.
I feel like it has nothing to do with the two that Rob Zombie made.
No, yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with those. It's the original Halloween.
Yeah,
that it's a sequel to, because there's a reference to, and it's in the trailer that came out.
I feel like, okay, I've said this to people, and I don't know if it's true. I feel like Halloween 1 and 2 is one movie.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Halloween 2 picks up the beat that fucking Halloween ends.
Yeah, but with this, that Halloween 2 won't exist, because there's a reference in the trailer where they talk about like, oh yeah, they said that Michael Myers was my aunt's, because her aunt's the
right. I don't know.
Lori,
she was the baby.
What is Lori's name?
I don't know. She was the fucking babysitter.
I don't remember. Anyway, whatever her name is, they basically say like, there's common like myth that she was Michael Myers' sister, and that actually came in Halloween 2. Halloween 1, she wasn't. She was just a babysitter. So I kind of like that they're playing on that like she's not actually related to Michael Myers.
Okay.
But they didn't show anything to the public yet, but they showed a poster where it's kind of menacing and looks pretty cool. So I'm pretty pumped for that.
I did see the trailer for it because they put a trailer out for it like a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
I was like, okay.
And the only other thing, they showed a little bit of footage, and I heard some description of it, but it's It Chapter 2. I really liked the first It, but they kind of showed like all the adults, and they kind of showed them first meeting as a little bit of rough cut that they've put together. So I'm pretty pumped for that.
I still need to watch it.
It's good. It's pretty good.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't know why.
I love that, and I think it's a good analogy for it. It's very much kind of like a new generation, like almost semi-horror Stand By Me.
Oh yeah, really, that's kind of what the original was to me. Like that's how I felt it was. I felt like it was like Stand By Me or The Goonies, or because it was a bunch of kids that talked the way I talked when I was a kid.
Yeah, and in this sense, it's R-rated. They get to curse and stuff, and. The only thing I hope they do is that in this new one, they kind of touch on the lore a little bit more. They did a little bit, but not a ton. And there's some things I didn't like what they did with the first one, but it's one of those things that like, if this second one, if they hit a bunch of different notes that they kind of missed in the first one, could make both of them like just amazing to watch together, if that makes sense. But all right, well, if that's all we have for movies, Richard, do you want to tee off what you've heard from Comic-Con for TV?
One thing. There's only one thing I have in my heart that I have to put out there, Shawn. And Shawn's nodding his head at me, so he knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Shawn,
Richard, where's Batman?
Oh. Yeah, that was that.
Oh, you're talking about something else then. All right, go ahead. I was
talking about something completely different. Shawn, I'm talking about fucking new episodes of the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I'm only through season 2 of Clone Wars, so I didn't realize how far they've gone. So give me some information on where did Clone Wars end, the current cartoon?
So the cartoon was on... Was it on... No, it was on Cartoon Network. So it started on Cartoon Network, and then it stopped. Then Netflix picked it up and did like 10 more episodes.
Okay.
On top of what they had. So I honestly I don't remember off the top of my head where it ended in terms of like where it ended on Cartoon Network and where it began on Netflix. The last episodes that I remember, see, now I don't want to get too hard into it.
No, you can spoil it for me. It's fine.
Okay. So towards the end of the series, Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. Like completely. She becomes like disillusioned with the whole thing and leaves. Yoda, you find out how Yoda learns how to project himself as a Force ghost. He learns the secret of how to disappear, become one with the Force, and become a Force ghost. And then he teaches. Then that's at the end of episode 3. He teaches Obi-Wan how to do it, and that's why you get, they're all Force ghosts at the end. They're all Force ghosts in the movies.
So does Clone Wars end, do you think, like the cartoon and everything with Order 66, or do you think where does Clone Wars end in the canon of Star Wars?
Well, if I remember correctly, I think it just kind of ended, and you don't really get. I don't remember completely, but I don't think you get a total sense of where it ends in terms of the timeline. So if like now they're saying they're going to tack on 10 to 12 episodes, going on. I'm like, you could totally squeeze that in. Not just that, you've got all your voice actors there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing. One of the clones doesn't figure out, but he starts to like have a breakdown, and then he ends up somehow his Order 66 gets triggered.
Oh, interesting. Like in the Clone War series already?
Okay. Yeah. And so then people just think like, oh, something went wrong with him, like he went crazy.
Oh, that is interesting. So it lays the groundwork for it. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've been trying to get through it. My kid, he's not at the age where he kind of can sit for the whole time, but we've kind of watched a few episodes here or there.
So yeah, so it starts kind of, especially the last few episodes, it really starts to weave. It starts to try and kind of tie up a lot of loose ends. And so if they're saying, hey, we're going to do some more, and we're going to put them on the end, and then in the preview for it, I hear the voices of, the troopers and everything, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like they have all the original voice actors back. So, oh my God, that's great. Not just that, Ahsoka shows up in the teaser, and that's why I was like, oh, Ahsoka's back. Ahsoka was always like the kind of like standout character. Yeah, she seemed more like the lead than anything in that series. And then it was great to bring her back because like you didn't watch any of Rebels, did you? Not yet, no. But she's in Rebels. Yeah, she's fighting Darth Vader. Oh my God. That show was so great. Yeah, I'm excited to get through Clone Wars and get into that. That show was so great because then you had that, they bring in characters from the Clone Wars. They bring in those kind of storylines from the Clone Wars. You got Ahsoka fighting fucking Darth Vader. Oh, and it rips your heart out. Rips your goddamn heart out, Shawn. Because she figures it out, doesn't she? She figures it out, and then she leaves. And then she shows back up, and her and Vader have a fight, and there's anyway. Point is that she shows up, is that she's in this teaser for these new episodes of the Clone Wars. So that had me super pumped. That made my heart happy. That's so TV wise, there's maybe one other thing I can think of, but that's what had my heart happy. Nice. All right, Richard. Well, what I was alluding to, and I thought this was going to be your first pick, but I forgot about the Clone Wars one. So Richard, I want to know, where's Batman? Fuck Batman. Oh, so
they released the Teen Titans trailer, and this is a very dark, gritty looking Teen Titans.
It is totally a dark, gritty look on the Teen Titans.
Yeah, like this is like DC. Like when I first watched this, I thought this was like a fan flick type thing. Like this is what we'd want our Teen Titans to be. No, this is what it is. We got Robin playing Nightwing saying "fuck Batman,"
which I'm fine with. I don't know. I'm fine with Robin. I'm fine with Dick Grayson having that attitude, but I don't know how I feel about Dick Grayson voicing it to some fucking dude on the street.
Well, I think it was after the fight.
If that makes sense.
It was after the fight, though. It was after he beat them all up. Then he was like, fuck Batman. I don't think he was like, they were like, where's Batman? He's like, fuck Batman. He left me alone. They're like,
all I wanted was a hug.
I just needed a father figure. He left me alone with Alfred
just
all
like
the time.
My parents.
They're like, should we console him or should we just leave? Yeah, let's just leave. We've got all the money.
Just, yeah. I mean, he might chase us. No, he's busy. He's doing the sobby cry. Let's just bounce.
I'd pay money to see that.
Just see Robin sitting in that corner. Why won't he love me like my pet did?
He looks over his shoulders and says, even the robbers left me behind. All by myself. So I think the big question, Richard, is this going to get you to pay $7.99 for or $8.99, whatever it is, for DC streaming service?
Is that how much it is? It's $8.99 a month.
It's $7.99 or $8.99 a month. It's something like that.
I don't know, for just that one show. I don't know.
I think it's got like if the reviews come back like, oh my god, this is legit, then I might. But
yeah, I think it would. You know, because the way I understand it, are they gonna have like DC's whole back catalog? Like, am I gonna be able to watch?
I think you get like Batman, the animated series. You get all the movies. You get I think it's like everything DC you get through this thing.
I mean that doesn't sound too terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine. I don't know if you would get like the old like 66.
Oh no, Shawn,
Batman.
it's not $7.99 a month. It's $75 for a year. You pay that up front.
Oh, I thought they had it split up. You could spend like one whole number, or you could spend per month.
No, the only thing I'm seeing is the whole number. So $75 is what you're gonna pay, but you get it for a year.
So $6.25 a month isn't terrible. That's a pretty big upfront price, but
I think that because they're wanting you to, I mean, they want you to commit for the whole year,
which makes sense. I mean,
I get it.
I know they have some other original programming they're going to bring.
They're bringing in, let's see, Doom Patrol.
Yeah, it's the one I heard.
So you got the Teen Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, Young Justice Outsiders, and Harley Quinn.
But I mean, it's this is the thing that's going to be interesting. I saw this online with like all the stuff you get for like streaming services, and it's like, well, this is just like cable. It's just specific packages. Because I mean, that was the idea of unplugging before. Is like, oh, you unplug, you get Netflix and Amazon, maybe one other thing, and you're spending a third of what you were for cable. The way it's looking, you're going to be spending more than what you were for cable.
I don't know. I think depending on what you get, you can still come in under a cable bill. Cable bill on average is like what, 60, 70 a month?
Yeah, maybe. It just depends. I mean, I guess you'd have to have them all going at once. I mean,
yeah. I mean, even if you go, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, like all three together, you're only at like 25, 30.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that was when I saw the trailer. I mean, it was one of those things. The way I kind of looked at it is like you have Robin saying "fuck Batman" in their first like live action.
Yeah. Which
no, I mean, think about
you know
like
what?
if this,
Honestly, that's probably how DC feels because Batman was is so far the only thing that's fucking made them money.
Well, I think,
Wonder Woman. So now we need a Wonder Woman sidekick. It's like fuck Wonder Woman.
well, I wonder if this is in the DC universe. Like it's like fuck Batman because it's basically like Batman Ben Affleck sucks. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck said Batman.
Let's see. I'll probably quick hit on some of these things. I'll hold the one that I kind of have a lot of thoughts on for the last, because that was the only one you said you had, right? Or do you have some more?
I had one more, but I'm curious to see if it's the same one you had. So let's.
Okay. So I'll quick hit. So Walking Dead, they released their season 9 trailer.
I haven't watched a lot of Walking Dead. I stopped after 4.
The trailer looked exactly the
just
same.
Trying to like let's get this done. Let's be done now.
I guess the guy who played Rick Andrew Lincoln announced this is his last year, so it's like, who the fuck's going to be raising this now?
Yeah.
There was a Charmed panel. Did you watch much Charmed back in the day?
I did not. Although I liked. I mean, Shannon Doherty was in it. Oh, and Rose McGowan was in it, and I remember she was like super hot.
Yeah, all three of them were pretty attractive. And there's another girl that was in there, like McGowan, I think. Something McGowan. She came in later. She was the fourth sister after Shannon Doherty was like off the show because she went crazy.
Rose McGowan, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's her. I thought you meant the other sister.
No, you're thinking of, there was. I do remember one was called Piper, and then one girl was Alyssa Milano, right?
Yeah, one was like Phoebe, one was Paris, one was Penelope, one was Patricia. I don't remember their names. Fuck, I was
Patty.
I was like 13. So they've released a trailer for it. I tried to watch it. It's very like WB or whatever WB is now. What the hell is it now? CW. It's very CW, like teen, tween, girl type show.
That trailer's not for you, Shawn.
No, it is not.
That trailer's for my kids.
I did see the Mayans MC, which is the Sons of Anarchy spinoff.
Oh, I heard about this. Again, didn't watch Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, you need to watch Sons of Anarchy.
I know.
You get to season 3 and 4.
So Sons of Anarchy was one of those shows that like just kind of fell through the cracks. Like a lot of people were like, hey, you should watch this. And I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but I was like, yeah, I should. And then just never did.
See, so when I first heard about it, I've said this before, like they're like, oh, it's about a biker game, like Wild Hogs with Tim Allen. Who the fuck is wanting to watch that? And you watch it like, holy shit, like this is just a gang movie, essentially. Like it's gang warfare type stuff. And you get to like season 3 and 4 and it's a little bit tough there. But once you get past that, like 5, 6, and 7 are so freaking good. Like it's a very like Shakespearean kind of flow. Like
okay.
Sutter does a really good job. And this one looks pretty cool too. It's like kind of tapping into a different world or a different group kind of thing. And so I'm pretty excited for it.
Okay.
I just saw this one today. They're making a Purge TV series on USA.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
I don't understand that one at all. Like,
yeah, because it's USA. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but even then, like, it's gonna be
it's cable television, so it's not like you're gonna have a bunch of people running around with like bare breasts, and you're not. I feel like you're not gonna get like a huge amount of gore and violence that you.
Yeah, not really. And it's like 10 episodes. So it might be like vignette maybe, where it's like it's the same night but 10 different people. But the trailer didn't do it justice. Two new ones that looked intriguing. One is called Origin. It reminded me of like a future Lost in Space, but it rated M because they're like traveling to a new planet kind of thing. And there was one called Night Flyers, which is George R.R. Martin's, which is kind of like space Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's see. So the one that I'm going to bitch about, I've got 2 other ones, but the one I'm going to bitch about, Richard, is they're making a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series called Rise of the TMNT.
Okay. Is it directed by Michael Bay?
It might as well be. They released the first 5 episodes on their Nick app.
Then not worth it.
No, you can watch the first one, but then you have to subscribe for the other 4. I would suggest not subscribing. It is basically like a glorified webisode, like web series.
Okay.
They drop you right into where like the turtles know April, so there's not real much backstory. They made Raphael the leader of the group,
Okay.
which I didn't like. All 4 turtles are different like species of turtles too, which I don't like. The big bad who's like got the ooze isn't Shredder, it's just some new random character. I like how the art style of it is. Like it's very much kind of like Adult Swim. I can't think. It's like very. It's not anime, but it's got that kind of like animation type of like very very like sharp lines on the characters. Like it's not very smooth.
Okay.
Each in the first episode, like each gag. Like this gag is a 20-minute episode, and there's at least probably 6 or 7 of these gags where the turtles like run into something, like Roadrunner style. Like where you do it once, it's funny, kind of, but you do it 6 times, and it's just annoying. And my biggest complaint is they treat they treat Master Splinter like a giant slob. Like they sneak in to
because he's a rat.
I don't know. Like they sneak in to steal something. He's sitting on the couch eating a bunch of food. Like he's not a father figure. And then he passes out and they can steal whatever they want with ease.
Mm-hmm.
So when the new Nickelodeon cartoon came out like in 2009, 2010-ish, I was kind of like, oh, like this isn't my Turtles. But I watched the first episode and I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. Like this is really cool.
Okay.
It was kind of a good mix of like it paid a little homage to the original and it had like a great storyline. It's a great series to watch all the way through. This one just looks like I said, like a web series. Like they just want a couple cheap laughs and the fuck around and take a shit on my turtles like Michael Bay.
It's something. Why won't you love me and love the fact that I love the turtles?
Yeah, and like you'd be like, oh, you're just an old man, Shawn. I'm like, listen, I sat down with my 2-year-old, and about 10 minutes in, he's like, fuck this. He said, fuck this, Richard. And I was like, hey,
wow.
I'll let it slide this time because this sucks.
Like, I was gonna hit you right across the mouth, but you know what? You're not wrong. And your mom's not here. It's fine. Dad, this is stupid. You're stupid for liking it. They knocked the popcorn out of my hand. Knocked the popcorn right out of my hand. Nerd.
The other one I saw, I haven't watched much of this. I guess I watched like half of season 1, but they dropped the new trailer for Preacher.
Dude, that's a show that I have kind of wanted to start. But I haven't. I
watched the first half of season 1, and like the first couple episodes, like I'm invested, but it just drags.
Mm-hmm.
But the season 3, like it looked pretty badass. They bring in Satan, the vampire guys, like following this vampire cult, trying to figure out what the fuck they're trying to do.
Everything's better with Satan.
Yeah, it's like logistic, legit Satan. Like he's dark red, got big horns. It's kind of like a South Park Satan.
Well, now you just made it funny. Now you just killed it all.
It is kind of funny. But those are. I have one more, but I don't think I touched on the one you were thinking of.
Does it start with a C?
No.
Oh, well then the show I want to talk about, and I felt like this is the one you were gonna talk about. I want to talk about Castle Rock.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess I've seen most of the trailers and stuff before Comic-Con, so it fell off my list. But yeah, okay, Castle Rock.
Okay, so I was waiting you to talk to me about Castle Rock because so have you read a lot of Stephen King books? Because I most certainly have not.
I've read a handful. I've watched a few movies. Castle Rock is a town that plays part in a lot of his stories. It's kind of like in Maine. The trailers they've dropped for this, like they have like hints of like different aspects of his works.
Right. So the trailer I saw, like you saw like news clippings of Cujo and Shawshank prisons in there, and what else? Looked like there was a bunch of like a cult of people wearing animal masks. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I didn't listen to any of like the panels or anything like that. I don't. My other show, Strange Indeed, we're actually going to be covering that starting next week because it comes out Wednesday or this week. So
Nice.
I don't know a ton about it besides like it takes place in the Stephen King universe. It's creepy as fuck. It's got Bill Skarsgård in it. It seems like there's going to be references to all the Stephen King's work, so you're probably going to hear about Pennywise somehow. Cujo's got references. Christine, all this stuff is going to be somehow tied into that. So I'm excited for it. Like, it seems like it's going to be a good, like, suspenseful horror type TV show, almost like what's the FX show?
Legion?
No, it's the one that takes place. It's like a horror TV show.
Oh, American Horror Story.
Yeah, American Horror Story. It seems like it's gonna be kind of like that, but in like the Stephen King realm.
Yeah, you're totally right. And American Horror Story has always been like really hit or miss for me. Like I'll watch the first episode of a season and like the premise, then I'm like, okay, I'm invested. Like I saw the first episode of Asylum, I was like, yeah, I'm watching the whole thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've only watched half of Asylum. That's all of American history or American horror stories I've seen.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how it seems like it is for me. But considering that Stephen King has come out with what, like 595,000 books or
597,006
over the course of this podcast, he's written probably 3.
Yep. He's like, oh, I got a great idea for a book. It's about podcasters who fall into a realm of podcasting where they think they're actually influential in the world and they think that their listens are actually real, but they're just bots.
And then they're eaten by Nazi zombie bears. And then we're like, God damn it, there's another one.
But before the Nazi zombie bears eat them, the bears lean in and go, all your downloads came from us, and they just kill themselves.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't even know what a podcast is. No!
But spoiler alert, their moms actually listened.
So Castle Rock looks super interesting to me. I watched the trailer for that, and I was like, okay, I've read maybe one book, and I've seen a few of the movies, and I'm down. I will totally watch that.
That's what I'm excited to do the show on for Strange Indeed, because like I guarantee you there's going to be like thousands of Easter eggs that I won't be able to identify that somebody will.
Yes,
and I want them to tell me those, because in the trailer I watched it's like here's all the Easter eggs. Like they had Shawshank, they had like the Mist, they showed the Cujo dog. They talked about like characters that were like the girl that played Carrie's in it, like the actual actress. So it's like, well, is she just an actress or is it actually fucking Carrie?
Oh, shit.
Like, could you imagine?
Think about that. Holy fuck. Oh, my God. You're blowing my mind.
They talked about, like, one of the guys in the show was the guy who played the, like, officer or something in the Shawshank movie. So, like, there's ties to it. So.
Oh, my God, Shawn.
Yeah, you think you want to, you said, like, 10 years ago, it's like, I want a Stephen King universe. Like, you're fucking stupid. Now it's like, give me a fucking Stephen King universe. Give me the SKU.
How far down the rabbit hole can we go? I'm down. All right, sold.
The last one I had on here, Richard, is what they're talking about. I think on the last day, Kevin Smith does his panel as a Hall H. He ends Comic-Con on it, and he was showing his pilot episode of Hollyweed, which I've already watched. I've already thrown a couple bucks in for.
Yeah, I watched it already too. So yeah, I totally didn't think about that in terms of
Yeah, I think he's talked about it a little bit in his panel. He showed it. I think he's shown another movie too with some of the guys that work on Flash. They did a short, but it's exciting. Like I saw the first one, thought it was good. You had said that you thought this was some of his best writing since like Chasing Amy.
I did. I really did. I felt like it was some of his best writing. Since I'd say, I think I said Chasing Amy, I think because it was the most familiar to most people.
Yeah, I could see that.
And like when I say like, what was the last thing Kevin Smith wrote that was, oh my God, Amazeballs? People usually say Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's really fucking good, really fucking great, smart writing. It's super funny. He acts in it, and he performs well.
Yeah, I think he does a good job.
Say.
It's kind of him, but like a little bit lighter. Like it's like Kevin Smith light, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, I dug the pilot. Like I said, I threw a couple bucks into because it's on Pivot TV, I think, which is a really cool idea. Because what they do is you record your pilot episode, you throw it up there, and then if you raise enough money via the audience, you get to make it. I think they're asking for like $5.5 million, which seems super low to make 6 episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that was my last TV show I had from this year's Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't think I had much of anything else either. I'm sure we're gonna get like I always feel like when we're done, I feel like I'm gonna get lambasted on like Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Like, why don't you talk about this shit? Why don't you talk about this shit? I'll tell you what. If there's enough people that harangue me about other stuff that's coming down the pipe that you saw at Comic-Con, like if there's enough, we'll do a reconvening, a Hall LOB reconvening, and we'll be like, all right, there was this thing too. Sorry. I had 2 news articles I was wanting to share. Do you want to start with the positive one or the negative one first? I think I know what the negative one is. So Let's go ahead and start with the negative one.
So, Richard, this was like day 1 of Comic-Con that I heard about this, and I had kept it because it irritated the shit out of me, one, because I'm sick and tired of people doing this shit.
Yeah.
And it is Batman writer Tom King has an San Diego Comic-Con bodyguard thanks to death threats over that wedding issue.
Okay, this I did not. Okay, oh my God, like we are totally of 2 different minds this whole time, because that was not the story I was thinking of, and I never even heard of this. So tell me about this.
Yeah, so I was looking for like San Diego Comic-Con just because you type in SDCC in Google and it gives you all the trailers and stuff. And you kind of pick from there, and this one popped up like day 1. And again, this irritates me the shit on me because it's like, you people need to stop. Like, I understand that Twitter is a place where you can like post things anonymously, but this stuff needs to end. You need to stop doing these stupid death threats and stuff like that because it's just dumb. It irritates the shit out of me.
Okay.
And mainly because we're not famous enough to get death threats.
Oh.
I think that's like when
Probably
you get your one.
They're afraid if people send us death threats, we'd actually go through with it. You're right.
I agree. I think I should die. Richard, get the toaster. Well, Richard, earlier this month, a controversy erupted. This is from Sci-Fi Wire. So a controversy erupted in the world of comics when DC preemptively spoiled the result of the much anticipated wedding between Batman and Catwoman in the pages of Batman number 50 by writer Tom King. Let's see. That reveal in the wedding section of the New York Times sparked a chain reaction of events that apparently has now led to King requiring the protection of a bodyguard as he walks the floor at San Diego Comic-Con. So one, Richard, from this article, it doesn't sound like people are pissed because of what happens. They're pissed because it was spoiled. And because it was spoiled in the New York Times, these people deem it appropriate to send death threats to the writer, Tom King. Enough that they have to hire a man to walk alongside him at San Diego Comic-Con to make sure he's safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, what are we talking about? We're talking about Batman and Catwoman.
Exactly. And it's just, I guess, so they talked to later on, like a guy named Dan Slott famously got death threats of his own after he killed off Peter Parker 5 years ago. Listen, if you are stupid enough, and I 100%, if you are dumb enough to get pissed because a major character in a comic gets killed off, you haven't read comics long enough because Peter Parker is coming back. They just killed Wolverine like 3 years ago. Guess who's coming back in a new fucking issue called like Revival of Wolverine?
Exactly.
It's not fucking somebody who's not Wolverine. It's fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like at the end of Logan they drug Hugh Jackman out back and shot him in the fucking head execution style. Like, in the back of the Fox lot, he's fucking laying next to Mel Gibson.
No, I could be in another one. You did Deadpool too. I could be in Deadpool. Oh, Richard, I just don't understand it. Like, I get upset. Like, I'm upset about the Turtles thing. I'm not wanting anybody to die from it. There'll be another Turtles at some point. It's not my cup of tea. It's going to be somebody's cup of tea. Somebody's going to watch that Rise of the TMNT and be like, this is the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm glad you enjoyed it. I didn't, but that's just me. I'll wait for the next thing.
Yeah. because it's gonna come.
Yeah, no joke. It's going to keep turning out. I mean, they've made, since I've been alive, this is the fifth TMNT TV show. They did the 80s, they did the 2000s. No, wait, they did the 80s, they did the Next Mutation, which was pretty bad.
Either A, they're going to come out with they're going to, reboot it, remake it, do some new version of it that you're going to like, or if all else fails, you'll just make your own.
Exactly. Or I'll just go back and watch the ones I like.
Yeah.
But there's been multiple things at San Diego Comic-Con we've talked about. There's that. There's like the whole like groping thing that happened a few years back with cosplayers, which pissed us off, which I haven't heard much about this year. So hopefully
I haven't heard much of that either.
Hopefully that's been nipped in the bud. Yeah, no joke.
Okay. So speaking of hashtag me too, this was the negative story. And this one kind of this is the one I thought you texted me about this story. Okay. So James Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
Is been taken off of Guardians 3 because he put out some stupid bullshit. Ready for this, Shawn? 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he said some stupid shit on Twitter. Somebody dug it up.
And I don't
know.
So the thing is, they were pretty dark and very inappropriate. Like,
yes, they were.
I mean, I didn't really giggle at them. I'm just kind of like, that's a little uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure he deleted them, though. Somebody had somehow.
I guess he deleted like a majority of the tweets that were there. He deleted.
But he deleted them before somebody dug them up, right?
Correct.
So they have been deleted for who knows how long, and it's the internet. So somebody dug them back up. I've listened to both sides of the aisle on this. There's people who are on the right that I listen to, people on the left I listen to. Even the people on the right who would be like, well, James Gunn isn't one of us, so fuck him. They're saying, like, this is kind of dumb. Like, you start going down this road, who else do you need to fire? I guarantee you Ben Affleck said some stupid stuff. I guarantee you Robert Downey Jr. has said some stupid stuff. Like, there is
fucking Ben Affleck got a bunch of shit where because he was talking. You remember? I think it was last year. It was last year, the year before, where
was it the spring break thing?
No, Kevin was telling a story about like.
Oh yeah, that was like 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah,
where he
it wasn't that. No, it was longer. Yeah, no, maybe you're right. Maybe it was like 8 months ago or something.
Because the whole thing where he was talking about where he's like, the worst thing about doing this was like pretending to kiss a guy or kissing a guy or something. And the chick from Westworld was like, oh, you think that's bad? You should try to pretend to be, I think it was raped, maybe, on screen.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, that is a lot worse, but holy cow. This went to 11 pretty quick.
Exactly. Because it was shit he said 6-8 years ago. And as far as I know, I could be wrong. Okay, so anyway, I'm digressing. Back to James Gunn, okay? So he puts out these stupid tweets like 10 years ago. Somebody digs him up, and now he's been taken off Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Okay, I have a problem with this on a few levels. Number one is the fact that this was 10 fucking years ago.
When I go to the point, like, if he had done something or he had said something that was like super like it was Roseanne style, like Roseanne has a track history.
Okay, right.
And she said what she said. So it's like, okay, yeah, she has a track history and she just recently said something stupid. Something's got to happen.
That was exactly the point I was going to make. Roseanne lost her show. It's gone. She's no longer allowed to do that show that she was doing. Now, the reason is because she said stupid shit in the here and now. Like, she said stupid, crazy shit 10 years ago also.
But she still got her show.
Nobody cared.
Richard, I didn't realize this until a lot of this was going on. Did you know she posed for, like, legit pictures, like professional pictures, dressed like Hitler with cookies being baked? I know she's Jewish, I think. But still, that's like, like that. You can't really argue that and be like, no, it's
like she said stupid shit 10 years ago. 10 years ago, she said that rich people should be, we should, rise up against them and fucking drag them through the streets and blah, blah, blah. Nobody cared. Or people cared then, but I didn't care. I don't care now about the stupid shit she said 10 years ago. I care about the stupid shit she said 2 months ago. Okay, so now let's go to James Gunn. James Gunn also said some stupid shit 10 years ago. But as far as I know, there hasn't been any sort of history of that since then.
Yeah. Well, and those were, the way he said it too was more satire. It was very dark satire. Maybe not satire, but very dark jokes.
Gallows humor.
Again, I wasn't like, oh, I get it. I was more like, oh, like, you have a friend that posts that, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to kind of keep myself away from you for a bit.
Right.
But again. Okay.
So, but like I said, he said that, and now, but I don't know if there's any, they went back 10 years to dig this shit up.
Well, and even it was like, again, I can't be 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure that these were deleted and then dug up. So it's not like he left them there and be like, oh, I still thought these were funny. It was like, he's gone back and cleaned his stuff.
People fucking change.
Yeah. I'm very curious what kind of precedence this is going to set, because I honestly believe you could go and find any celebrity, dig through every article they've ever written, every post they've ever done, anything, and you could find stuff to be like, yeah, this is offensive and they should lose their job over it.
Yeah.
It's very, very, and what's scary too is he's a pretty high profile when it comes to the Guardian stuff.
He made the first two.
Yeah. I mean, he's the guy that kind of set the stage for a lot of that.
Okay. So that's the one thing. Number one, he said that shit 10 years ago. There hasn't been a history of it since. And people change. People change over the course of time, especially over the course of 10 years. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Again, so that's number one. Number two. With here you get into murky water, because it's like, oh, well, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line between when you say something stupid? Where do you draw the line in terms of like, what's the statute of limitations on it? Okay, fair point. But it goes to my second point is it was a tweet.
Yeah.
He didn't grope anybody. He didn't sexually harass anybody. He didn't assault anybody. He said some stupid shit on the internet.
Well, and I think it wasn't even like he said it like in a crowd of people. I mean, I think that's where you think of like tweets and stuff are almost kind of like semi-private, even though they're on the internet. Like you're not saying them to anybody. Like he wasn't out in front of like a bunch of people being like, hey, guess what? Inappropriate comments. He was just like, hey, I'm on my phone taking a deuce. I'm like, this is funny. I bet a lot of people think this is funny. And then 5 years later, he's like, nope, they don't think it's funny.
They didn't think it's funny. But yeah. But again, we're talking about words. We're not talking like, okay, if he had sexually harassed someone or if he groped someone inappropriately 10 years ago and somebody, says something about it now, I think we're talking about a completely different set of circumstances. We're comparing apples to, a Mitsubishi sedan.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when you hear about stuff like that where it's actually personally done to somebody, there's usually a track record of it and it hasn't stopped.
Right. Okay. So that's my second thing is we're talking about somebody putting out a tweet. We're not talking about any sort of assault or harassment or anything like that. We're talking about words. While granted, words do have power and words can cause harm. In this instance, I feel that we're trying to equate words with, a staunchly held belief. And I don't think that's the case because, again, we're talking about something that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, again, I think this is something you can see, like you could build a job, like you could be a rival, publicity company digging up against your client, your competition. Like that seems like that's the next generation of jobs because this is kind of setting that precedent. But
yeah. Okay. Point number 3 is happened 10 years ago. It was a tweet. Let's get over it. Point number 3, I'm sorry. I got to say it because it's true. It's at the bottom of the list, but it's still on the list. Guardians 1 and 2 is really good. And I want him to make another one.
Well, he's already written 3, so I'm sure that's what they're going to use, or he's at least partially through it.
Guardians 1 and 2 are really good, and now he's not going to be around for a third one, and it makes me sad.
Well, and how is this tied into our Comic-Con 2 things? He was supposed to be at Comic-Con this year, and he dropped out because of that.
Yeah.
But Richard, so kind of sad news on two fronts. The good news I have.
Yeah, make it happy.
I didn't realize this was an award that's out there. But, Richard, there is a Comic-Con. It's called the Ink Pot Award.
Yeah.
So just so people don't know.
They've been awarding it for years.
Yeah, since 1974. So the Ink Pot Award is an honor bestowed annually since 1974 by Comic-Con International. It's given to professionals in the field of comic books, comic strips, animation, science fiction, and related areas of pop culture. At CCI's annual convention, commonly known as San Diego Comic-Con, also eligible are members of Comic-Con's board of directors and convention committee. And we got 2 of our, I don't know if they would say we're heroes. Yeah, I think we'd say they're our heroes.
Sure.
Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin were both awarded the Ink Pot Award this year at the 2018 Comic-Con convention.
They did. They joined a high caliber, high class.
They
people.
did.
It's a quite exclusive club. Stanley's in there. I think Michelle Nichols got inducted this year. Also got an award this year. Also
nice. So like Kevin Smith in his, he kind of mentions like I don't get awards anymore, and he was pretty gracious of it. But I was really happy for Mark Bernardin because Mark Bernardin is kind of the dude that. You know, he worked on comics a few years back, but he tried to, like, he wrote for different news articles.
He wrote for, like, Entertainment Weekly. He was the editor of the LA Times. He was at Playboy for a while. He's been all over. He's been embroiled in pop culture for the last probably 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I think
not longer.
It's a tale of 2 people. Like Kevin Smith was kind of the dude that like I think that's like your dream scenario. You know, you make your first movie, you put it out there, and then you're kind of on the path to, you know, creating your art. And he stuck to his art. Like he didn't really deviate from it. Yeah. Mark Bernardin is kind of like the workhorse type of storyline. You know, he worked his ass off doing his own thing. Then he had to figure out a way to pay the bills. Still try to do his own thing. You know, he's on Castle Rock. He's a writer on that. I think he's on a writer on another show he hasn't mentioned yet. He's doing a shit ton of panels and stuff like where he's leading them.
He moderated the Castle Rock panel this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But, you know, I just want to kind of say congratulations to both those guys, and especially Mark Bernardin, because that is super awesome to kind of get that award. You know, it's one of those things, Richard, you and I don't know how many awards Mark Bernardin's won. I know Kevin Smith's won a fair amount. You and I are both kind of like the guys that, like, there's no awards on our shelf.
Nope.
And I'm sure Mark Bernardin has a few already, but it's nice to see somebody that I kind of consider kind of like what we're striving to do.
He deserves everyone. I'll tell you what sold me on Mark Bernardin. I was like, yep, I'm in with this dude. This is my dude. It was a Fat Man on Batman podcast. This was back before they had a YouTube channel and all this other stuff. It was just podcast. It was just the podcast then. But they were talking about there was a trailer for one of the Arkham games. I want to say it was Arkham City, and there was a bit in the trailer where you see like a teenage Bruce Wayne getting bullied at school. Either getting I think he was like getting bullied or something like that, and he was like in high school.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer.
Yeah, and so Kevin and Mark, you know, they're talking about it or whatever, and Mark starts weaving. He's like, you know, it'd be awesome. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if you could see like a young, like teenage Bruce Wayne, and he has like some people hanging out with him or whatever, and they just like do shit at school and then like throughout Gotham City, and like you start to see the beginnings of Batman, kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but with Batman. I'm like, that sounds fucking amazing.
And then 2 years later, what do you get? Gotham.
You get Gotham. That was another thing. He weaved a different plot of Gotham. He's like, you could have done that show a completely different way, but you stopped that when you killed Thomas and Martha Wayne in the first 2 minutes of the first episode of the first season. You start off the show with Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot. Why?
Yeah,
he's like, you know what you should do? You know what you should have done? You should have had them not get shot in Crime Alley and done this whole story arc with Thomas and Martha Wayne, where where Jim Gordon meets up with Thomas and Martha, and they're like hanging out and they're palling around, and they become important characters, integral characters.
Yeah.
Then you kill them. And then it's like this big thing. Then it's this, it has so much more gravitas and weight to it in the show. I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing too. Like, yeah.
He's a writer. He is amazing.
Yeah, he totally is.
I was not a big fan of Fat Man. I mean, I was okay fan, but I just didn't care for it too much with all the podcasts I listened to. But once he kind of became a full-time dude on it, I listened to it a lot more.
Very much so.
All right, Richard. Well, they're coming through the doors right now, and they're starting to say, all right, guys, it's time to wrap up Hall LOB and this year's 2018 San Diego Comic-Con. So, Richard, do you want to close us out with a little bit of Richard's closing thoughts?
In terms of content this year, it seemed like there wasn't a whole lot. I will say that, not to take away from anything that we saw or news wise or stuff that was released. I'm not trying to take away from it. There were things that I saw that were good. There were things that I saw that weren't so great, and I get that every year. I will say that this year it did seem a little slim in terms of just the amount, but I would say that was if I had any sort of complaint, it would be that just, hey, could we get more? And maybe I'm just, the spoiled fat kid that wants another piece of cake, but
yeah, could be. We had a big year this year, so maybe next year is kind of going to be slim. So that might be why we're not seeing much. Next year is probably going to be huge. Probably.
Next year you'll have what? Fucking Captain Marvel. You'll have
all that'll be out before then. Captain Marvel that'll be out before it.
So
you'll have Phase 4 stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Marvel will probably be like, this is what we're putting out for the next 10 years. Look at it. Look at all of it. Episode 9, you'll get that shit next Comic-Con.
All right, well, let me do a little bit of hall keeping as we're closing up. Visit our website. We're at languageofbro.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Follow us on Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbros.com. Check out the LOB Army intelligence reports. Like us on Facebook and go out and recruit somebody for the LOB Army by getting someone you know to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Alexa.
And when you are on any of those places, go ahead and throw up a rating and a review, because the ratings and reviews are so helpful. If we get enough, maybe we will eventually get to Hall H. You never know. I do. And you can always find us at the center for all San Diego Comic-Con news, the Pod Bros Network. The best hall-keeping podcast site on the internet. And if you want to throw a little money in our tip jar so we can make it to Hall H next year, join our LB Army by going to our Patreon accounts, www.patreon.com/languageofbromance, and be like LOB Army member Chris. Thanks, Chris. Aw, you're the bestest. And just so you guys know, this is the very last week. So the end of this month, the month of July, is the last week, last day, I guess. You can nominate us for the Podcast Award in the comedy category. So if you go to podcastawards.com, throw a nomination for the Language of Bromance and Comedy. And also while you're there, nominate A Strange Indeed for TV and film. Do them both. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Was there anything else before I close her out? No. Nope. All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn. And I'm Richard. And I say we eat the beaver. I say we eat the beaver. Sir, get off the stage.